Hey guys, we are back with some more Wolfsburg Wolves franchise mode, and we are at the trade deadline of year number 10. But we're not going to be making any trades. The only thing we're going to be doing here is some line changes. That's right, we're going to be keeping Thatcher Demko and Kalle Rodin going into the playoffs. As Kalle Rodin, he is just not going anywhere. This guy has been fantastic for us this season so far. 37 games played, 933 save percentage. He's all over it. And Demko's been great too, but Rodin's been better, and he's younger. So we got to keep playing him. But that being said, I do want to get some Demko a couple of games because Rodin's been going a while. So we'll get Demko a couple of games here. But for the most part, Rodin, it's Rodin's show now. And 5-on-5 lines, we have quite a bit of change here because mainly the second line was not clicking. And I think a reason for that is all of these guys are shooters. Niederberger, Weiss, and Zanetti, who was formerly on the second line, I switched him with Point because, yeah, again, Zanetti, Weiss, and Niederberger, they're all shooters. And I think, honestly, Niederberger is more of a sniper than a playmaker. Obviously, I mean, you could look at his goals and assist totals and say he's a playmaker, but with the amount of shots he takes, he simulates more like a sniper than an actual playmaker. So I put in a real playmaker alongside of Weiss and Niederberger. Braden Point, only 86 shots. That's more of a playmaker type shot totals than Sebastian Niederberger, who currently has 131. His rookie season, he got 209. So, yeah, that's why we took Aaron Zanetti off that line, and Aaron Zanetti also only has 18 points so far. So I'm going to hope that playing with a playmaker such as Garrett Goddard will be able to help him out. Goddard's moving up to the third line, and the reason I think he'll be able to help out Aaron Zanetti is because he doesn't take too many shots. Literally 17 shots. This guy never takes shots. I mean, one shot per, 4 or 5 games? That is ridiculous. I'm shocked he even has any goals, to be honest. So we're going to play him with Zanetti, and Zanetti is going to be at center. We're going to try this again with him, and I'm going to hope that it works out. Obviously, he hasn't really been solid at faceoffs recently, but I'm hoping that he can get back to where he was here this year with that 51.2% on 58 faceoffs, and maybe he can run this third line with Gurianov and Goddard. So obviously Goddard is going to be passing it to him no matter what. I mean, this guy's never going to take a shot probably for the rest of his life. And then Dennis Gurianov, I mean, he's more of a sniper, I would say, as well, but he's also a physical sniper, and he only has 95 shots actually right now. So Zanetti is definitely the most sniper-like player of anyone on this line, at least in terms of how he simulates. And then the fourth line, Miller Albrecht is in there now instead of Vincent Trocheck. Because when you take a look at Vincent Trocheck's stats, he hasn't exactly been doing what he's paid to do. He only has 28 takeaways to 34 giveaways. He's been kind of brutal. And even last year, going back to last year, he wasn't great. And hasn't really been anywhere physically either. And he's been absolutely terrible on faceoff since the halfway through the season. He was, I believe, at a 52% before. Now he's dropped down to 49, so he's probably been pretty bad as of recent. We might get him in there for the playoffs just because of his experience as opposed to Albrecht. But for right now, this is what we have to roll with because, I mean, obviously, we're not in a bad spot. We're in a great spot, actually. We're by far first place in our division. But what the rest of this season is going to be about is optimizing the lines for a perfect chemistry. And obviously, we're not really seeing that right now. At least we didn't see that before with Aaron Zanetti, Cam Weiss, and Niederberger all being on the same line. Because 63 games in, Niederberger only has 35 points. That's not where I would like Niederberger to be. Cam Weiss, I believe, only has, 38. That's definitely not where I want Cam Weiss to be. And Aaron Zanetti, for sure, definitely not where I want him to be. He's had a slow season, unfortunately. And obviously, for the most part, he's a real solid player. I guess he hasn't really had that chemistry with Cam Weiss and Niederberger that I thought they would off the start of the season. Because remember, at the start of the season, all of these guys were rolling, particularly our top six. I think Cam Weiss and Niederberger both had like 17 points to start the season. So that second line definitely slowed down, and that's why we're changing things up there. Points on the wing. Defensively, Lindholm and Bohinski have moved up to the second line because Staples and Provorov, I think, are more of the defensive pair as opposed to Lindholm and Bohinski, who can more or less get more offense than these two. So we're going to try them. But obviously, Lindholm is the more defensive presence there, and Bohinski with the offense. And Kulishov Kondratek hasn't changed. Jones is injured. And yeah, we're going to get Demko some games. And also, since Vincent Trocheck's out of the lineup, we put Jorg Aho on the penalty kill. So it's now Weiss and Aho, the two star centers, on the penalty kill. Now, as for the power play, I did want to change it up a little bit. It's not that our power play hasn't been going, but I did want to get Zanetti some more points. But I think for right now, I'm just going to see what happens with the 5-on-5 lines. If the power play needs to be changed, I will change it. But as of right now, it's operating at like a 24% or something like that. So I'm going to leave it alone. I'm not going to touch what's not broken. But as for the depth scoring definitely was an issue. So I want to see if those line changes are going to be able to help that out. We're going to go past the trade deadline, not making any trades. I feel comfortable with this team. And again, we've been to the Western Conference Finals 4 years in a row. There's no excuses as to why this team can't do it. We've been there before several times. It's just the ability to finish that we need to get. That we need to get in this last part of the season. So we'll give Demko a few games here. But again, it's mostly the Kalle Rodin show here. Seth Jones is fully healed and available to play in the team's next game. We absolutely need that back. So Kondratek, I mean, it looks like you played well, plus 11. But that being said, the rest of our defensive core is better than Kondratek, so I'm going to take Kondratek out for Seth Jones, who looks like he's dropped to an 87, unfortunately. Now, that might have something to do with the amount of injuries he's gotten this year. He's had 2 major injuries so far. He only has 58 games played as opposed to 66, which it looks like we've played as a team so far. So I'm just going to make sure that Jones is on the power play, penalty kill. And I think I'm going to keep Demko in there for right now because he's on a hot streak. 2-1 shootout win, 6-0 win against Washington. And even this game against Vegas wasn't terrible, 5-3. So we'll keep him going for a couple more games. And we'll see what happens here against Vancouver and St. Louis. But man, we're lucky to have a pair of solid goaltenders. There's a 5-2 loss. I'll give him one more game just to see what he can do. Keep his confidence up there. You know, it's never good to take out a goaltender after one bad loss, after he's had multiple solid games. That kind of brings down their confidence. And of course, he posts a 7-1 victory right there. We'll keep him going against Detroit. So, I mean, I don't know if that's the lines doing this or if it's, you know, if it's Thatcher Demko being in there. But regardless of which goaltender we have in, we have a absolute stud of a goaltender. I mean, yeah, he just keeps winning. So it's literally just been a goaltender's duel all year. Oh my goodness, he just is on a roll right now. Edmonton. So Tim Bohinski, unfortunately injured with a mild concussion. Looks like he'll be back soon. I'll just replace him with Kondratek for right now. That should just throw Kondratek in there. That's not too long. And there's a 5-2 loss. So I think with that, I'll put Rodin back in. But that was an absolutely solid stretch for Thatcher Demko. And yeah, we're already in the playoffs, 99 points in 72 games. The rest of our division's awful. It really is, at least compared to where we're at. So I'll put Rodin back in there, but that was an absolutely solid showing by Thatcher Demko. Nothing to be ashamed of there for Demko, but, you know, Rodin, he's been just as good as Demko has been over that last stretch. So we got to get him some games. We got to trust him going into the playoffs because that's, I think, who we're going with. So we'll sim these next few games here, and we'll see what happens. I mean, obviously, we're already in the playoffs, so we don't have too much to worry about. I think at this point, it's more about seeing if we can win the President's Trophy, but we're not concerned about winning the President's Trophy. We're only concerned about one thing only at this point, and that would be the Stanley Cup. So let's get Tim Bohinski back in there. We'll take Kondratek out. Bohinski, get in there. We'll make sure that you're on the power play still. Yes, you are. And that should be it, because we just auto-replaced him everywhere, so that, yeah, the line should be good. So we'll get back to simulating. game against Minnesota, Peyton Knight's back. Yeah, I want to get him in. Yeah, even though I don't think we're going past year number 10, it's still, you know, in case we are, like in any sort of live stream that happens to happen, you know, I haven't done one of those in, I don't think, over a year, but we're going to get Peyton Knight back in there. Solid win for Calle Rodin. Montreal, that is going to be, this should be a win. Yeah, 7-1 win. We're just too good now. 49, 19, and 7. Yeah, I don't know if it's the line changes that did this, or if it's the fact that both of our goaltenders are being consistent, or both. But yeah, I mean, we're officially, this team is better than the team that we had last year, because we had 50 wins total last year, I think. And we still have, what, is that 6? Yeah, we still have 6 games to go. We could get up to, if we don't lose anymore, we could get up to 56, 19, and 7. That's insane with how we started this season. It was, obviously, we were never really in a bad position. We never really were able to get going. You know, we were never able to be consistent with our wins. But now, during the latter part of this season, this veteran team, this experienced team has gotten it together. Yorgaho with 70 points. Maddox Homer with 69. Maddox Homer with 34 goals. Is that a career high? I believe it is. Yes, it is. For the first time in his career, Maddox Homer finally hits the 30-goal mark. Like the sniper that we thought he was going to be. And Yorgaho also gets to 30 goals. Nothing new for him, though. He's been there before. Todd Mayer. And that is definitely a career high in points for him. Yes, indeed. Looks like he's going to get to 70. 52 assists on the season. He has been phenomenal. I would imagine his takeaway to giveaway ratio is on point as usual. Cam Weiss with 52 points. Braden Point with 52 points. Niederberger with 46. So that's, where was he at before? 35, I think. So 11 points in that stretch. It's not bad. If that pace that he was on continues over the course of a full season, I would say he'd be able to get at least 55, maybe 60 points. But unfortunately, he didn't really get going until Braden Point was moved onto his line. Seth Jones with 37 points in 68 games played. Guryanov with 34. Kuleshov 33. Bohinski 31. Zanetti with 27. So how many was he at before? He had, oh goodness, he had 18. So that's 9 points in the last, what is that? 11 games? 12, 13 games? I'm not entirely sure. But you know what? Once again, it's a better pace than he was at before for sure. Because before he was at, so wait, 63 games it was at before, right? When we started this video. So yeah, that's 13 games, 9 points. Not bad at all, especially being on the third line for Aaron Zanetti. Not on the power play either. So he has definitely picked up the pace. That's what I wanted out of those line changes, and that definitely happened. Frederick Stahlberg with 17 goals. Pretty impressive for being a fourth line grinder for pretty much his whole career. Still got that medium top 6 potential. I don't think he's going to reach it, though, at this age. But still, 17 goals for a fourth liner. Not too shabby, especially after the past few seasons. He's had a couple of rough goes as far as goals go. Only 3 last year, 8 the year before. 17 goals for Frederick Stahlberg. It looks like that is, and he could still get to his career high of 18 in these last few games here. So we'll keep an eye on that for sure. And I'm not really sure why I'm checking the stats now. I should have waited till the end of the season, but whatever. We'll just go in depth through it now, and then we'll check out the points update later. Garrett Goddard with 26 points. I'm not sure how much he was at before, but I know for a fact that he's been helping out that third line. Maybe not in a point scoring way, but in a way that's helping out Aaron Zanetti get back to his groove. So I'm glad that we put Goddard on the third line. Miller's down there on the fourth line now, also with 17 goals. So that fourth line kind of chipping in there. Trocheck hasn't played in this episode, 23 points. Lindholm with 20, Provorov with 11, Staples with 9, Kondratek with 4. He's only played 9 games. Albrecht in his 13-game run so far. That would have been an easy way to tell how many games we played in this episode, because this episode was his debut for this season. And that would be 2 points in 13 games for him on the fourth line. 13 shots as well. So he looks like he's more of a playmaker as a 79 overall. He's got that puck skills category way up there, so I'd imagine that's a strength of his. Offensive awareness is actually at a 90 for him as well. So that's good. Let's check shots. So 237 for Homer, 229 for Aho. Both those guys are snipers. 197 for Kuleshov, 195 for Weiss, 161 for Niederberger, 159 for Bohinski, 133 for Mayer, 126 for Zanetti, 123 for Guryanov, and 113 for Miller, 109 for Jones, 103 for Point, and then 100 for Trocheck. Everyone else below 100. Shooting percentage, who has the most? That'd be Frederick Stahlberg with 69 shots, 24.6 shooting percentage. That's pretty good for him. Goddard with a 20 on 24, and then 15% for JT Miller on 113 shots. So the fourth line, whenever they do get their shots off, they capitalize pretty often with JT Miller, Stahlberg there. Pretty good. What about the top six? Braden Point with a 14.6 shooting percentage on 103, and then a 14.3 shooting percentage on 237 shots for Maddox Homer. Game winners, Weiss. Cam Weiss, Mr. Clutch, has 8 game-winning goals so far this season. Power play points, Homer with the most, 22. Let's see, what else? Face-offs. Cam Weiss with 55.7, Aho 55.3. Point is currently on the wing, but in the face-offs that he did take, 51.4. Trocheck currently sitting 49.1. Where is Zanetti at? 42.3. So not ideal, but the chemistry works well enough on that third line where I'd be comfortable to continue letting Zanetti take faceoffs, at least for right now. Where's Albrecht? Albrecht is at a 36.8. Ooh, that's kind of brutal, but I have to kind of leave him in here, in there on the fourth line center, because we don't really have too many other options at the moment. Hits, so 172 for Homer, 156 for Aho, 131 for Weiss, 108 for Provorov, 103 for Lindholm, 99 for Jones, 97 for Zanetti, 93 for Guryanov, 90 for Niederberger, 89 for Miller, 86 for Stahlberg, 76 for Kuleshov. So he's up to a hit per game now in his career. Well, not his career, but on the season. So he's becoming more physical as he's aged. He's 28 years of age now. Time flies, man. It feels like he was just 18. So yeah, he's become more physical as his career has gone on, which is good to see. 55 hits for Goddard, 45 for Mayer, 33 point. We know these guys don't hit. Blocks. No, not giveaways. Blocks. 101 for Lindholm and Kuleshov. Of course, all the defensemen are going to be up there, but 23 for Maddox Homer leads forwards. Takeaways to giveaways. Takeaway Master Top Mayer with 133 to 57. Oh my goodness. And then Cam Weiss, 108 to 48. Solid, if you ask me. And everyone else down here, yeah, I mean, it is what it is. We all know the players who are going to be good defensively and who are not going to be good defensively at this point. Fights, Stahlberg with 6, Weiss with 4, Miller and Mayer with 1. And then goaltenders, I mean, this has been the real story of this season. These two have been absolutely phenomenal. I mean, besides the inconsistencies that we had halfway through the year, or in the earlier part of the year, I guess, is more accurate. These two have been incredible. Absolutely incredible. And I don't see that slowing down anytime soon. I don't see it slowing down in the playoffs. Calle Rodin proved that he is not going to be a prop 2.0. And Thatcher Demko, he's got as much experience as any veteran goaltender in the playoffs, and whenever he does play in the playoffs, besides this year right here, he's been solid. And I'm not even sure if, did he even play for us that year? I don't think so. I don't think Thatcher Demko played for us that year. So I think that's when we had, Corey Schneider as our number one goaltender. So, or it was either that, or that was the season where we were going back and forth between Demko and Schneider. I can't remember exactly, but nonetheless, these two have been absolutely phenomenal. And you know what? Speaking of Schneider, that's got to be the story of this GM mode is we've always, the one thing that we've always had, even going back to when we were not so good, is we've always had extremely good goaltending. Going all the way back to Corey Schneider, when we got him at, 35 years of age, out of free agency. Ever since then, we have had solid goaltending. So that's got to be a huge plus for this team going into the playoffs. We'll check the teams. Well, actually, you know what? I've already checked enough stats. We'll just check all the rest of the stats when we finish off the regular season. I probably should have waited until the game after the Islanders, but there was no game after the Islanders, so I should say the day after the Islanders game. But yeah, for the most part, yeah, this team. well. I'm glad we didn't trade Demko. Oh, that would have not been good. I'm glad we didn't trade Demko. That would have not been good if we had to roll with Matt Villalta the entire rest of the season here, and then going into the playoffs as well. That definitely would not have been good. So thank goodness we didn't trade Demko because we really need him now. Oh my goodness. So, yeah, Rodin unfortunately going down with an injury at least until halfway through the first round. So, got to play for Rodin here. Berlin, yeah. So we're gonna make sure Peyton Knight's in there, and then I guess Sandstrom. Sure. All right. So Demko, I gotta ask you to stay in form here because we really need you over this last part of the season and going into the playoffs. Rob McLeod's been injured with a mild concussion. Everyone's getting injured right now. So 3-1 loss against Philly, 3-1 win. So, I mean, we're not really scoring right now, but there's a not so great loss there against Columbus. Not really going in the playoffs on the greatest note. Oh my goodness. Speaking of which, Ivan Provorov injured with an MCL sprain until July 2nd. You gotta be joking. That's probably the biggest injury we've had in this GM mode. Oh, that hurts. Obviously, it doesn't hurt us too much since we have a lot of defensive depth, but out for the entire playoffs and then some. That hurts. May as well get Staples over back on the left, and we'll put Kondratek in. Well, couldn't get lucky with the injuries now towards the end of the year, for sure. And it looks like we're unfortunately going into the playoffs. Oh my goodness, Garrett Goddard with injured ribs. When will it stop? Until April 25th. Give me a break, man. Alright, so we're going to have to get Trocheck in there. Man, these injuries, I'm telling you. Alright, so who are we getting on that second line? Zanetti's dropped down to an 84. That's unfortunate. Gurianov. It might have to be Point. It might have to be Point because you need a playmaker there with Zanetti. Yeah, it's going to have to be Point. It's going to have to be Point. And then Niederberger, Weiss. I hate to break up that second line, but Zanetti is one of our more clutch playoff performers. So we need to make sure that Zanetti is at least has capable line mates going into the playoffs. Stahlberg, Miller, Albrecht, and then Trocheck up here on the second line. I don't know if I like that. I'm not breaking up that first line. That first line's perfect. Second line, Niederberger, Weiss, and it's got to be some sort of playmaker or two-way forward. I guess maybe Albrecht? I mean, he's not really a shooter, so he fits the playmaker thing there, but that 79 overall. I'm going to have to hope that 90 offensive awareness and that puck skills category can carry him. Yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do. I think I'm going to put Niederberger on the right, and then I'm going to put Albrecht on the left wing here. So it'll be Albrecht, Weiss, and Niederberger. So Albrecht, the German, getting his chance in the top six. And then Trocheck, Miller, Stahlberg. Yeah, that's going to have to be it. That's going to have to be it. Oh, man, the injuries in the late parts of this season have been killing us. All right, so is that it? I think so. It should be. Yeah, I don't think the power play or penalty kill were affected. Yeah, all the lines look good. So, Demko, my man, I need you. We have one forward injury to a playmaker who was key to getting Aaron Zanetti some points. And then Ivan Provorov is out on our defensive core. And then Kalle Rodin, our star young goaltender, out with an injury as well. So, yeah, we're kind of hurting. Not the worst thing in the world, of course. We're still a pretty good team. But we got to hope that these lines can gel going into the playoffs. And right now, yeah, it's not looking like it. We're going into the playoffs on a brutal 3-game losing streak. 5-0 loss against Columbus, 5-3 loss against Winnipeg, and a 4-1 loss against the New York Islanders. So we end the season 51-24-7. Definitely not the worst that we've been. Probably, honestly, one of the better teams we've had. But, you don't like to see the end of the season there that happened. 3 unfortunate injuries, and one of which is extremely long-term. Man, you don't like to see it. You don't like to see it. Demko, man, I need you. I need you going into these playoffs. So, we already basically checked out the stats. So we'll end it off there in terms of player stats. We're just going to check the team stats here, and then we'll see who we have going into the playoffs. So goals for per game, we're sitting at a 3.06. Not bad. Goals against per game, 2.26. By far the best in our division. Power play, this is why I didn't touch the power play. 24.5% on 196 opportunities. Pretty solid. Penalty kill, 84% on 238. So I'm not touching the power play. I'm not touching the penalty kill. And as much as I would like to get, our main lines back, we have to kind of deal with those injuries for right now. And we're 5-5 in our last 10. So going on a bit of a brutal streak going into the playoffs, but we all know that doesn't really matter, especially when it comes to this simulation. So it appears that we may have won the President's Trophy. I'm not entirely sure, just because of the Islanders, who are also at 109 points, but we'll see if we beat them in any tiebreaker categories, and it looks like we might have. No. I think, yeah, they had more, they had more regulation they had more regulation plus overtime wins. So we just missed the President's Trophy, but hey, you know what? That means we don't have the President's Trophy curse, and we can go into the playoffs without too much of a worry. Now let's see who we're facing, and it is going to be a Pacific Division team. That much I know. I don't know exactly who we're facing because, the new playoff format, but we'll see who we have going into round number 1, and that will be the Anaheim Ducks. So let's check out the lines of the Anaheim Ducks, and I don't have to switch teams because they're right here. So first line, Brendan Saad, Ricard Raquel, and Sean Conacher. One of their rookies. It looks like they drafted 3rd overall, power forward. Looks pretty good. 6'5", so basically their version of Maddox Homer, Jorg Aho. Second line, Magnus Pressberg, Sam Steele, and Josh Ho-Sang. Third line, Sasha Matula, Isaac Lundestrom, and Jukka Heikkinen. And then the fourth line, Brock McGinn, Jack Roslovich, and Andre Kasha. Now, defensively, Dalton Webb, another rookie in general for them. Elite defenseman, 88 overall at 20 years of age. My goodness, what a stud. Great defensive category with that 92, 92, 91. 90 offensive awareness. Watch out for him. Brandon Montour still here with an 84 overall in the first pair with Webb. Second pair, Gage Festerini. Another elite prospect for them, but he's 24 years of age already, 80 overall. Ryan Ellis, still in the league, 37 years of age, 81 overall. Still got that top 4 as well. And then Brian Cullimore, 28 years of age, defensive defenseman, I believe I saw. Yes, indeed. And, oh God, Jeremy Biakabutuka. Oh man, butchered that like crazy. Second two-way defender there. I'm not entirely sure how to pronounce that. Hopefully I don't have to pronounce that name too many times in this series. And goaltender-wise, they have Ville Husso, and Vitek Vanacek. So, not the most impressive at goaltender. And defensively, not really too deep. The best, obviously, their top two is who they're going to be leaning on a lot. And then, forward-wise, they look pretty deep. No standout stars. I mean, you might be able to consider Raquel a star, at least for this lineup. Let's see how he did in the regular season. 62 points. But no one who's really going to stand out there. So, scratched are Matthew Joseph, Liam Foudy, and Billy Legwand, another prospect of theirs, it looks like. First round pick in 2022. And that'll be it for the Anaheim Ducks. And that is it for the regular season of year number 10. And in the next one, we will face off against the Anaheim Ducks in round 1 of the year 10 playoffs. See you guys then.